Hi, it's Mary Beth Shaw from StencilGirl Products. Welcome to Almost Live. As I'm recording this, I just got back from a beach vacation and I'm kind of relaxed, so I'm still in a little bit of a beach zone, and that's all good. It's just the beach. It's so amazing. Listening to the water tends to restore me, and I come up with a lot of arty ideas when I'm at the beach. I don't know if I did so much this time, but I just did come back relaxed, and that is so nice. But I also came back with a renewed idea about just little snips of time, because I think that's what we're all struggling with right now. We're pulled by this online over and over and over, and we get into the routine of watching other people create, and we're just watching and watching and going from reel to reel or TikTok or whatever it is we're doing, and then we're not actually doing our own thing. And I get stuck there myself. Was lucky to have a little break in that while I was on vacation. And it wasn't even because I decided to. It was simply because the island I was on did not have enough bandwidth for the tourists. So there you go. I was forced off of Instagram, and it was a good thing, right? So what I'm going to do is turn the camera and show you a few things I've got going on and talk about ways I don't know, I just have a little idea coming in, and I'm going to share it with you. So we'll see how that goes, okay? All right. I switched cameras, and the first thing I'd like to talk about is the idea of collecting things. Let's move these stencils so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm betting that a bunch of you who are watching have similar such displays around your home. I am a rock hound, a collection person. Here's two that aren't rocks, but piece of rust I picked up somewhere. And then this, I just love this stem with three little acorn heads, caps on it. I just thought it was so cute. Another piece of rust, little shell bits, all sorts of things that I pick up along my journeys. And I've been doing this for years. When I first started out as an artist, I would say rocks were one of my initial inspirations, and they remain an inspiration to me. We would go on vacation, and I would be collecting rocks, and God forbid if we had flown somewhere, we were usually on driving trips, and I could carry home as much as I wanted. But it just became a little bit ridiculous, and my husband's like, how many of these rocks are we bringing home? And a lot of them are what spawned stencils like this one and like this one. These are the rocks, and this is the grout, to make rock walls or walkways or whatever it is. And I continue to be inspired by that. I've done a series of work about rocks. My Stratalicious series was about rock and land strata that you would, like, if you saw a slice of the earth, all the different layers you would see, and that's very inspiring to me. So here I was at a beach on a plane trip, so I couldn't carry much, and I just decided I was not going to do all these things again, because I do it every single time. And so I was going to put everything back except for maybe one thing, and that's this rock that I picked up. As I look at it, I'm not even sure if it's a rock. It might be just a piece of concrete or something. I'm going to try to hold it up as close as I can to the camera. What I liked about it were the striations on there, the lines, and then the holes. And I felt like it was a mark-making rock. I felt like it was telling me to make rock marks, right? And then it got me to thinking that really so many of these things I pick up are about mark making. Look at this gem from another trip. You know, if you look at it close, right? Look at that. How it's all about mark making. Oh, and this one, this is one of those, I guess it's like some kind of a coral rock, or I only pick things up. I don't pick up live things, so this was something that was, you know, in another time. But, you know, back in the day, you know how if you're at a lake or even if you're at the ocean and how the rocks are so gorgeous in the water, and then you bring them home and you bring them out of the water and they're just not the same. Well, back in the day, I had collected them, and I had this long, low dish with about sides, you know, maybe a couple inches high, and I filled it with water, and I had all of my rocks in there, and they became an inspiration for me every day. They were a palette, a color palette that I would look towards. They were shapes. They were so many things to me. Now these days, I don't keep a bowl of rocks in my studio. I do have rocks here for sure, but not in water like I typically did. And these days, what I do is I keep them in little dishes around the house, like these two dishes and then this little display thing. I have a bowl of sea glass and, you know, a lot of different collections. And they do inspire me. But I was thinking about, since the point of these Almost Lives is to talk about the stencils, I was thinking about, where does this come in with respect to my stencils? And certainly it inspires me to design stencils like these. But I also want to move into another direction where I'm doing something different and doing things that are like smaller amounts of my time. So I can just do a little snippet of activity here and there. And that's when I thought of this. So I pulled out some papers. This is just a piece of paper that I was obviously using as a palette or testing color or something. And I laid the stencil down and I traced around it with a pencil. That's that page. This page, it was just a vintage, well, it's from 1975, an invoice. And I did the same thing. I laid it down and I traced around it. And I thought, you know, maybe this is a way to just do like a little bit of drawing without getting too invested in a long-term project. You could use the stencil to create a shape like I've done here on paper, and then you could take your inspiration, which let's say this is my inspiration, and I can draw it or draw something inspired by it on the paper. So this is where you have a lot of latitude because you don't have to do anything that is exactly the same, right? Although, as I look at this, it's kind of interesting because that one shape is so similar, like here. Look at that. But I want it this way, so I think I'm gonna just start drawing, you know, little bits of it on here. And I'm using a Unipin fine line. It's water and fade proof. It's a pigmenting 0.3. This is a really nice kind of a everyday drawing tip because it's a nice size. It's not too fat, it's not too thin. It's just right. It's like the Goldilocks of you know, of drawing pens. And then if I go back in and if I put some watercolor on it afterwards, you know, hopefully it won't smear. Or if it does, it might not do it too much. So, and I was thinking as I did this, I don't even know if I would need to cut these out. I'm really not sure. I just was super compelled to draw them and to take a little bit of time to do something so simple. So I don't know. I don't know if you have anything around your house that might inspire you. Do you collect rocks? Do you collect anything? at all, do you pick up things? I suspect many of us do, because every time it seems like I'm out with my like-minded friends, that's what we're all doing, right? And as I do this, I'm not even looking at the rock that much. I'm kind of just trying to glean the essence of it, which is typically how I work anyway. I don't try to replicate things so much as to just get the essence of it. Because if I look for its essence or its soul or whatever you want to call that, then the next time I pick this up, I'll go, oh yeah, that was a rock, that was a rock. Yeah, I will still remember it for sure, because that's just how I operate. I could probably go through these bowls and tell you where I found every single one of these, right? So I did think that this would be something fun to do, and I don't know, you could do it in pencil. You don't have to have any particular pen. This is almost like a doodle exercise, or I think there's some artists out there, Amy Miracle, who does like what she calls a Zen tribe drawing, and I love that scene when she's creating these patterns in a very Zen-like way. Never taken one of her classes, but I met her at Squam, and I love the things that she's doing. I also love the idea of just drawing on little random bits of paper, because I think it takes the pressure off, right? It takes the pressure off of you to create something on a random bit. I feel like, for me anyway, when I pick up a sketchbook with these beautiful white pages that are, designed to create drawings, I'm like, oh great, Here I get so tied up in the value of the actual sketchbook that I can't make myself start, and that's so frustrating. This is I think this one is a seed, but I love the little shapes of it. Let's try one over here. I don't know. I've possibly just lost my mind, and this is maybe, let's try this one maybe. This is maybe not going to be something cool that anybody will want to do, or maybe they will. But I'm just always thinking about ways I can explore shape in my work, and different ways I can create that will allow me to put fresh expressions out there. Because see, here's the thing. I've been putting rocks and acorns and all these things in my work for a long time, and I don't want the work to get stale, I'd like to keep it fresh and hopefully create things that are maybe interesting to people as we move forward. So, I don't know. I am interested to see if anybody thinks this is a good idea or not, right? And if you do, I'd love to hear from you, because I think it's fun to hear what people do with our stencils, and certainly hear how people might be inspired after watching one of my almost lives. Maybe you are inspired to work in a fresh way, or maybe it helps you to look at things through new eyes. I always find that to be such a valuable thing, is when I can look at things that are even surrounding me in my home, or things that I encounter when I'm out in the world or whatever, and suddenly look at them with new eyes. I find that just to be the best. Now, God forbid I'm not, what I would consider a drawer per se. So all I'm doing is my little rendering of these parts, and then going from there. but the shapes continue to inspire me. Be them rock shapes or acorn shapes or stencil shapes. They inspire me and make me want to explore in different ways these shapes and how they might fit into my work. I'm going to cut this one out and we'll take a look and see how it looks. I have little boxes of collage bits laying around on my journal table at home, and these would be just the kind of parts I would drop in there to pull out someday and go, oh yeah, look at that, I remember when I made that, and put it in my work, because I think it's a lot of fun to keep these things and be inspired in the moment, but then also allow them to guide us in a new direction, perhaps at a later time. So I've been drawn for what, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes max, and oh, look at how cute that is. Yeah, I like it. It just looks like it's a little, almost a mysterious portion of something bigger, which that concept intrigues me very much. So I'll probably keep this little section too and maybe draw on it, because that's a nice little part as well. I hope you have gotten some ideas from this that maybe you might pursue for yourself, and let me know what I could do in the future that might inspire you. Let me know how you've been inspired thus far. I'm here for you. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on Almost Live. Take care.